Intro, you've lived enough years to know that life isn't about chasing youth. It's about mastering it. Yet somewhere along the way, the world began whispering that age steals your charm, your appeal, your edge. But what if that whisper is a lie? What if time doesn't fade your attraction but sharpens it, giving you a kind of quiet power that most younger men never understand? Today we step into that truth, through the wisdom of philosophers like Michael Sandel, who teaches us to find meaning and moral strength in every stage of life, and Cornel West, who reminds us that real beauty flows from integrity, passion, and soul, not surface perfection. We uncover what truly makes an older man good-looking, magnetic and irresistible even if he doesn't see it yet. This isn't about vanity. This is about value. It's not about mirrors. It's about mindset. Because the most attractive men over 40, and beyond, carry something far rarer than smooth skin or sharp jawlines. They carry character. They carry presence. They carry peace. So if you've ever looked at yourself and wondered whether your best years are behind you, this message is for you. Let's explore 8 powerful signs that you're a good-looking older man. The kind of man who doesn't chase validation because he's already found something deeper. Self-respect. The silent confidence. The first sign you're a good-looking older man isn't what people see on your face. It's what they feel in your presence. It's silent confidence. When you were younger, maybe you tried to prove yourself. You talked louder, flexed harder, or tried to win approval through attention. But with age, something changes. You stop performing. You stop needing validation. Philosopher Michael Sandel might call this the maturity of moral worth, the point where your value no longer depends on market approval or superficial judgments. You begin to understand that confidence isn't a display. It's a discipline. You've learned through years of experience that self-assurance is not arrogance. It's calm certainty. You don't need to dominate a room to own it. You don't need to prove that you're strong, because life has already tested you and you passed in ways that no one even knows about. That kind of quiet power is magnetic. You don't chase and you attract. Women sense it immediately. Men respect it instinctively. Because when you've reached a stage where your self-worth no longer depends on applause, you become a man of gravity, and that's far more attractive than youth could ever offer. Cornel West once said, "To be human is to love, to struggle, to create, and to resist despair." That's exactly what this kind of confidence radiates. The sense that you've lived, you've struggled, but you're still standing tall. You're not a man searching for himself anymore. You're a man who's found peace with who he is. And that peace glows through your eyes, your tone, your walk. It's not something that can be faked. It's forged through experience, reflection, and acceptance. And that's what makes you good-looking, even when you don't realize it. The timeless style. The second sign of a good-looking older man is timeless style. Not in the clothes you wear, but in the way you carry yourself. Style, at its core, is not fashion. Fashion fades. Style endures. And your style now reflects something much deeper than trends. It reflects authenticity. Michael Sandel speaks about the dignity of self-respect. How we find worth in living in alignment with our principles rather than following the crowd. Your style works the same way. It's not about copying what's popular. It's about expressing who you are without apology. A good-looking older man wears what fits his story. It could be a tailored jacket, a simple white shirt, or just the confident stillness in his posture. What matters is that he owns it fully. Cornel West would say that this kind of presence comes from soulfulness. The soul doesn't follow trends, it defines them. You've lived long enough to know that true attraction isn't about impressing others. It's about feeling at ease in your own skin. That's why when you walk into a room, you don't need designer labels to turn heads. You carry history in your eyes, wisdom in your voice, and balance in your gestures. You've developed what young men spend years chasing: a signature presence. Every gray hair, every subtle line on your face tells a story, not of decline but of depth. You're no longer trying to look perfect. You're trying to live truthfully, and that truth gives your appearance an edge that time can't dull. People notice that. Women especially notice that. Not because of your clothes or physique, but because of the energy of authenticity. A man who's comfortable being exactly who he is. In a world obsessed with filters, your realness is irresistible, because in the end, style isn't about what you put on your body, it's about what you've put into your life. And when a man wears wisdom like a second skin, there's nothing more attractive than that. The emotional control. One of the most overlooked signs of an attractive older man is emotional control. Not suppression, not numbness, but mastery. You've lived long enough to realize that reacting to everything is a waste of energy. You've learned to stay centered when others lose balance, to breathe when others break. That calmness is rare and it's powerful. When Michael Sandel speaks about moral agency, he reminds us that the truly mature man doesn't let his circumstances dictate his conduct. He acts from principles, not impulses. You've cultivated that kind of moral strength. You don't lash out when insulted, you don't beg when rejected, and you don't crumble when things don't go your way. And that control isn't cold, it's captivating, because in a world full of emotional chaos, your calm becomes a sanctuary. Women feel safe around you. Men feel respect. You carry a kind of serenity that can't be faked because it's been earned through pain, loss, and recovery. Cornel West says, "Never forget that justice is what love looks like in public." In the same way, emotional control is what self-respect looks like in action. It's how you show the world that you've evolved beyond insecurity, that you've reached a point where you no longer need to prove anything. Your heart beats slower, but your purpose beats stronger. You've become a man of stability, the kind others turn to when life spins out of control. And that strength, that quiet composure, is deeply, irresistibly attractive. When you're calm in storms, when you can smile after disappointment, when you lead with grace instead of ego, that's when people see the kind of beauty that time can't erase. The depth of conversation. The fourth sign that you're a good-looking older man is found not in your appearance, but in your words. You've developed depth of conversation. You don't talk to impress. You talk to connect. You don't fill silence with noise. You fill it with meaning. That ability to speak with thought, with intention, with curiosity, it draws people in. When Michael Sandel lectures on justice and ethics, he challenges people to think, to reason, to reflect. That same trait in you, the willingness to go deeper than surface-level chatter, makes you stand out. You're not afraid to discuss real things: values, choices, dreams, regrets, love, and truth. You've grown past the superficial. You're not looking for attention. You're seeking authenticity. And when you speak, people listen because your words aren't rushed. They're measured by experience. You've lived through things, seen how fleeting pleasure can be, and how lasting peace is built through purpose. Cornel West often says that true power lies in speaking the truth with courage and compassion. That's what you do. You don't argue to dominate, you communicate to understand, and that ability, that intellectual calmness, is magnetic. Women, especially, sense when a man isn't just hearing them, but understanding them, when he's not reacting from ego but responding from empathy. That's a rare quality, and it radiates attractiveness far beyond physical looks. In your eyes, she sees patience. In your tone, she feels stability. In your silence, she senses confidence. Your conversations don't just pass time, they build connection. And in that connection, your inner beauty shines through. The strength of purpose. The fifth sign of a good-looking older man is purpose, that inner compass that still points forward, no matter how many years have passed. You've realized that attractiveness has less to do with youth and more to do with direction. A man with purpose moves differently. He speaks with conviction. He lives with momentum. Even if you've slowed down in some ways, your fire hasn't gone out. It's just become more focused. You've learned that chasing everything leads to nothing. Now your energy flows where it matters. Michael Sandel would say that purpose gives dignity to action, that our worth is tied not to what we own, but to what we contribute. And you, at this stage of life, have found meaning in giving, teaching, mentoring, and creating. You're not driven by the need to impress. You're guided by the need to impact. And that shift, from ego to essence, transforms how people see you. Cornel West speaks of living a life of integrity, honesty, and love. That's purpose. It's not just about career or success. It's about alignment, doing what your soul knows is right. And when a man moves with that kind of inner clarity, people can feel it before they even hear him speak. You walk into a room and there's an unspoken message. This man knows who he is and where he's going. That's attractive beyond measure, because purpose brings presence. It gives your face a glow that no cosmetic could match. It makes your posture straighter, your eyes sharper, your voice firmer. It's not youth that makes a man magnetic, it's mission. And when a man is living with purpose, when his actions are rooted in values, and his heart is anchored in meaning, he becomes the kind of man who doesn't need to seek attention. Attention naturally finds him. The aura of emotional maturity. The sixth sign of a truly good-looking older man is his emotional maturity. The quiet strength that comes from knowing who you are, what you want, and what no longer deserves your energy. You've outgrown the chaos of proving yourself. You no longer chase what drains you. You've learned that not every argument deserves a reaction. Not every invitation deserves your time, and not every woman deserves your peace. That level of maturity is magnetic. It radiates from the way you handle rejection, the way you navigate disappointment, the way you love, not desperately, but deliberately. Michael Sandel reminds us that moral growth begins when we learn to see others and ourselves through the lens of dignity, not desire. You've mastered that. You no longer measure your worth by how others treat you. You measure it by how you respond. When younger men lose themselves in emotion, you stand steady in wisdom. You understand that love isn't possession. It's presence. That attraction isn't a performance. It's energy alignment. Women sense it immediately. They feel that your affection isn't rooted in insecurity. It's rooted in choice. You choose her, not because you need validation, but because you respect connection. And that right there is what separates boys from men. Cornel West says, maturity is not measured by age, but by your capacity to love without condition and act with courage without fear. You embody that spirit, the kind of mature masculinity that doesn't fear vulnerability but leads with it. You've become emotionally fluent, able to feel deeply without losing yourself. And when a man can balance logic with empathy, restraint with warmth, silence with sincerity, he becomes unforgettable. You've lived long enough to know that the loudest form of attraction isn't lust. It's peace, and when your presence brings peace to others, that's when you know you've become a truly good-looking man. The power of legacy. The seventh sign that you're a good-looking older man lies in what you leave behind, your legacy. Legacy isn't just about wealth, status, or recognition. It's about impact. It's the stories people tell when you're not in the room. It's the energy you leave behind after a conversation. It's the lessons you plant in the hearts of others. When Michael Sandel speaks about the moral limits of markets, he reminds us that the greatest value in life cannot be bought. It must be earned through integrity and purpose. Your legacy is that invisible currency. You've built something far greater than possessions. You've built respect. And in today's world, that's rare. Cornel West describes legacy as the echo of love and truth that outlives the body. That's what you represent. A man who's turned his struggles into wisdom, his pain into perspective, and his years into guidance for others. You're not obsessed with being remembered, but you live in a way that's impossible to forget. That's what makes you attractive on a deeper level. Because true attraction isn't about who turns heads. It's about who changes hearts. Your smile carries reassurance. Your silence carries wisdom. Your words carry weight. You've become the kind of man younger people look up to. Not for your looks, but for your light. And when you walk through life radiating calm, respect, and quiet confidence, that's when you reach the most powerful kind of beauty, spiritual attractiveness. The eighth sign, inner peace. And now we arrive at the final sign, the one that transcends them all. The eighth sign that you're a good-looking older man is inner peace. Not the absence of problems, but the mastery of them. Not a life without noise, but a mind that's no longer shaken by it. You've walked through enough storms to realize that peace isn't something you find. It's something you build. You've built it through patience, loss, lessons, and forgiveness, and that peace, it shows. It shows in the way you smile when things don't go your way. It shows in the way you forgive instead of fight. It shows in the way you move, with calm certainty, grounded presence, and quiet gratitude. Michael Sandel would say that such peace is the outcome of living a moral life well examined, one where you've aligned your choices with your conscience. Cornel West would add that it's the product of a soul anchored in love and justice. Together, they teach us that beauty, in the truest sense, isn't about how you look, it's about how you live. And that's what you embody now. You are not just an older man. You are a man who has earned his reflection. Every wrinkle tells a story of survival. Every gray hair carries the wisdom of restraint. Every scar whispers the truth of resilience. So if you ever doubt your attractiveness, pause. Look beyond the surface, because the truth is your value has only deepened with time. You've become a masterpiece, carved not by perfection, but by persistence. And in a world chasing youth, your calm confidence, emotional depth, and purpose-driven life stand out as the ultimate form of beauty. You don't just look good, you feel good to be around. And that's something no filter, no trend, and no age can ever replace, so walk with pride, speak with depth, love with grace. Because you, my friend, are living proof that time doesn't take away your power, it reveals it.